and welcome to Talking Good Game. Just finished Newport County 0, West Ham United 2, and the Hammers are through to the next round of the Carabao Cup after a reasonable, eventful 2-0 victory over in Wales. Myself and Gonzo have done a watch along, so if you've watched that, you're just going to hear our conclusion. If you've not watched that, don't bother, because you're waiting to hear our conclusion here. Gonzo went in 1-0 up at half time through Jack Wilshere's goal, but perhaps fortunate to be leading at the break.
Yeah, I mean, he chose an odd team, I certainly thought, but not an unsurprising team. I don't know why he picked Roberto. I was quite annoyed to see that, because whilst I understand you might want to rest people ahead of the Norwich game, who also rested extensively, and I believe actually went out of the competition tonight, or at least up to 85 minutes they were heading out. I don't understand why you have to rest your goalkeeper, because I think that's important if you change your back four, that you keep him there, and I thought that was a major part of us going out against Wimbledon last year. So I wasn't overly happy, but I was pleased to see Antonio in the starting lineup at least. And unfortunately, he was to go on and pick up what looks like a hamstring injury to keep him out for 6 to 8 weeks, mate. Which was straight away. He was signalling for a substitution. So I was quite worried at that point, and they went on and started creating a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, when the lineup came out, it was what I was expected, I guess. My only sort of surprise was that Jack Wilshere was fit and able to play, but I thought Roberto. The frustrating thing with Roberto starting, and this was before the game. Obviously, our opinion has changed after the game, which we'll come on to. But at the start of the game, you were thinking, well, I understand why he did it last season with Adrian, because he's come in, he almost feels like he's got an obligation to keep Adrian happy. But actually, Pellegrini signed Roberto. He could have said to Roberto when he signed, listen, you're my keeper on the bench for the whole season. If Fabian gets injured, you get a shot. But unless that happens, you're on the bench. The first half, I thought we were lucky. They had a couple of big opportunities, especially at Amund when Abraham bars Diop off the ball. I thought Diop had a really poor first half, really bad. They should have been 1-0 up, 2-0 up maybe. But then Jack Wilshere got his goal. He tried to do a 1-2 with a jetty. Didn't quite come off, but Jack followed it up anyway and won the ball off the defender and put it away. And is it fair to say Jack needed that goal, because he wasn't exactly setting Newport County's home ground alight in the first half until he scored?
He wasn't, but I do think that was based on the fact that he'd given the ball away 3 or 4 times, and it was quite noticeable. But he had also played 4 or 5 decent passes up to that point. So I think it was a sort of neutral performance, because it is easy to concentrate on the misplaced passes. Actually, he was the one trying to make something happen, but he did need it, because you've also got to put into the context of the fact he's just been dropped from the team as well, of course. So I think it was a massive game for Wilshere, and it actually gave him a huge amount of confidence. And then he was trying the expensive passes anyway, but then for the remainder of the game, he continued to try the expensive passes, and they were just coming off. And he was, along with Felipe Anderson, who of course had come on as a replacement substitute for Antonio, started to dictate the pace of the game, and between the pair of them showed their Premier League class.
You've alluded to it, you've already said it. Antonio went off quite early in the game, 15, 20 minutes into the game. Antonio went off, quite a clear hamstring. He was running past the defender, if you like, and before he even got to the ball, down he went, holding his hamstring, signaling to the bench immediately that he was going off. I mean, while the win's good, and this doesn't quite overshadow the win, it's still a big blow for West Ham, because it could keep him out for weeks.
I said when we were doing the watch along, he's not somebody that recovers from injury particularly quickly, Antonio, because he's such a highly tuned athlete. He's all muscle and twitch muscle and all the rest of it. So it is a massive worry, to see him pull up like that. And particularly, Antonio had a little down period, really, where he wasn't the same player for about 12 months, and we were all questioning whether he was properly fit. Some questioned his motivation, whether he was still the same player, and he's back to that same player. I think tail end of last season and the start of this one, certainly, as far as I was concerned, had to be in the starting lineup. I thought, much the same as the last starting lineup, but take Yarmolenko out and put Antonio in. It is a worry, mate. It is a worry, and I do. Hopefully, it is just a month, 6 weeks. But the concern is that it could be longer.
I feel sorry for him. I feel really sorry for him because he'll be looking at it like he should have started against Watford. Sorry, he should have started against Watford, and if he did, he probably would have been rested for tonight. Yarmolenko would have probably got the nod tonight. So it's just unfortunate. I feel you can't help but feel sorry for a guy that sort of worked his way in, and tonight was a good opportunity for him to show Pellegrini why he should be starting against Norwich. And people in the live chat saying it was actually just 6 minutes. I knew it was early. I didn't realise how early it was. I normally take notes because we were doing the watch along. I didn't bother, and but it's hard to tell how the game would have panned out with Antonio on the pitch. But the substitution worked out for West Ham to an extent because Felipe Anderson came on and started pulling the strings. But the second half, Gonzo, we came out the blocks pretty quickly. Nice passing by Wilshere Fornals. And we got our second reasonably early doors and sort of knocked the stuffing out of Newport a bit. Fornals getting his first goal for the club. Good play by Wilshere, good play by Anderson. Ajeti perhaps unfortunate because he made the run front post and got knocked off the ball. But there was Fornals to knock it in, and a bit of relief then. You could enjoy the game a bit more as a football fan, and I think we did on the pitch as well.
Yeah, I think so. They certainly did expand a little bit after that, and it's good for Fornals because he'd actually hit the post in the first half following a lovely move. As soon as Anderson come on, he played one of the two best passes in the game, which really opened up their defence, and as a result, Cresswell squared the ball back, and Fornals didn't catch the shot quite as he would have liked, but it hit the post. So at that point in the second half, Fornals would obviously be looking to rectify that. So I was really pleased for him to get a goal. It seemed to mean a lot to him. As Gio said, Wilshere and Anderson heavily involved in the build-up. Ajeti did miss out. I do think the Anderson ball was for Ajeti. He almost scored on a number of occasions tonight, Ajeti, as well. So he will consider himself to be unfortunate, but I think he showed enough promise in there. But Fornals needed that as well because he drifted and he wasn't involved in a lot of that game. So that will give him a lot of confidence. And after that, funny enough, he started to be a little bit more assured in his touches and his passing.
Yeah, I think Fornals was under a bit of pressure really because Wilshere got his goal in the first half. Anderson was looking really good, so he was sort of the creative player that was perhaps not stepping up to the mark, but he got his goal. You could see him. He had that celebration within him. We ran out 2-0 victors. We didn't really have much clear-cut chances from then on. But what do you make of the game overall? Then are we lucky, or was that a professional performance? How would you describe it?
Well, we are lucky because we should have been 2-0 down, or 2-1 down, depending if you think Fornals hitting the post should have gone in. Whatever. They missed a real sitter, not quite a sort of Will Hughes sitter, let's say, but they missed a real sitter, which they struck straight at the goalkeeper from 3-4 yards. There was also a massive reaction save where Roberto stuck his foot out, and they had caused us problems. And I think it would be fair to say up to 20-30 minutes, it would be hard to argue that they weren't the better team. So they gave it real goals. So in that sense, we were lucky. Long term, a blessing in disguise of Antonio. No, it's a major pain in the backside. But actually, in the context of that game, it might have been helpful. Anderson coming on, and I don't think we'd have been in that trouble. If we'd have started with Anderson Lenzini, then I think we'd actually walked that game. But there were periods when they started to bully us, when it looked like an upset could be on the cards. But I only know the Norwich one. I don't know the other ones. But there were so many teams when we looked at it, Gio, who hadn't taken the cup seriously, or they prioritised the Premier League. So many Premier League teams that played tonight fielded complete second strings. I think we can consider ourselves a bit lucky to be through, but we can't carry on playing it. You cannot carry on playing like on the right hand side Zabaleta and Snodgrass and then continually get through these lesser teams, and I'm talking about that being very much on that side, or the left hand side was a little better for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I think we were fortunate to go in at the break 1-0 up, and we got a goal. When we scored, they were very much the better side. They were the one creating the chances, and they were the one looking dangerous, and they were starting to get under the skin of our defence with their physicality. They weren't afraid to barge into us or put in a sliding tackle, and I think a few of our players weren't too keen on the the physical side of the game. I thought Diop was awful in the first half. But the second half, we came out 1-0 up, and I think that goal seen us come out slightly different West Ham in the second half. We kept the ball better, the passing was slicker, we were really getting in behind their fullbacks quite a lot as well. We were just stretching them. And we had to wait, but in the second half, I do think we just showed that we are the Premier League team. We saw the difference between a Premier League team and a League Two side. In the first half, I don't think it was obvious enough, but in the second, I think we made a few changes to the way we played, the tempo we played. We started dictating it a bit more, and we ran out. I think we're worthy of the winners overall. I thought we were a better team overall, but Newport fans can be proud of their team tonight, and they could come away perhaps feeling a little bit hard done by that. On another day, they would have won that game, but we did what we had to do in the second half. I hate you calling it a professional performance, but I think that's exactly what it was at the end by West Ham. We just did what we had to do, and it's a cup game, so leave your entertainment for the league. In a cup, it's all about winning, beating your opponent there and then, and getting into the next round, and that's what we've done tonight. Listen, this was a very big banana skin game for us. Sky Sports smelt it a mile off. That's why we're on the telly, but the result is we are in the hat for the next round, and there's a few Premier League teams going out tonight to a lower league opposition, so Sky Sports have got it wrong. But so it's a good win for West Ham. I mean, you would have taken this before the game any time. A comfortable enough 2-0 victory, as long as you get through. Player performance wise, take your pick. Impress you, didn't impress you?
Okay, start with the obvious we've mentioned, which is Sanchez and Wilshere were probably the pick of the bunch. Diop, as you mentioned, was like a rabbit caught in the headlights. Once he'd been bullied and been roughed up by what was the number 15, a big strong chap, then he really went on to have a shaky 20-25 minutes. I wasn't happy with the combination of Zabaleta and Snodgrass on the right. I think it lacks pace. As I mentioned, people are going to want to know how Ajeti played. I think he's got something about him, and when I say that, I don't mean he's going to be a world-class player or something like that, but there's a mobility about him, there's a youth about him. He kept on getting in positions to score. I counted, I think, at least 4 headers right in front of goal. He would consider himself unlucky for the Fornals goal. There was another one where he almost got involved, but he was not afraid to drop deep. He was quite, dare I say, actually dropping deep and linking play, quite quick on his toes, and actually a better option than maybe someone like Hernandez. So he's not just somebody that's going to be a threat in the box. You don't have to change the way that you play completely when he's in the team, which I thought that was quite evident. So whilst there was nothing particularly outstanding from him, there were some positives. Fornals we've sort of covered as well. 2 or 3 moments, aside from the goal, 2 or 3 moments of really nice passing and technique from him as well. And I think, bearing in mind, I certainly wasn't impressed. I didn't want to see Roberto play at all. I still don't understand why you rest your keeper, because they don't get knackered in games. There's no reason that Fabianski can't play today and against Norwich. So I wasn't looking forward to him playing. But he made 2 very good saves. One of them was a smart save, a reaction where he stuck his left leg out. And in fact, I've just watched the replay just then on the telly. And another one was when they had a free kick and there was a header over, and he sort of ran across the goal and sort of clawed it out, did a diving one-handed save, which was actually quite high up. 2 very, very good saves by anybody's standards, and I've just watched the replay there on the telly, so he can feel very, very proud of himself today, Gio, actually, because he's done all right. But as a fan, I feel a little bit more confident. I'm not going to, next time I see Roberto's name on a team sheet, I'm not going to be filled with dread. I think actually there is a keeper in there somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Diop's the only one for me that's come out with less than positive performance, if you like. He did okay the second half. He did a couple of good moments when he shielded out and stuff, but in the first half I just thought he had a nightmare. Thought Roberto did well. Thought Zabaleta played okay. He did what Zabaleta can do, really. Balbuena played okay. Caswell played okay. Sanchez played well. I was impressed by Carlos Sanchez. I thought Anderson and Wilshere were really... I thought Wilshere was okay. I thought he did a better second half. But until he scored, I thought he was looking a little bit lethargic, maybe is the word to use. I don't think it was quite working. He was getting shown up by Felipe Anderson next to him. Felipe Anderson was looking a lot better than Jack Wilshere, which made Wilshere look a little bit worse than he was. But second half, he really sort of put his foot on the ball and controlled the tempo of Wilshere. That's good. But Felipe Anderson, possibly our best player. Fornals did okay. Looked good in moments, but he drifted in and out of the game. So, Snodgrass... Pellegrini's not using him right tonight. But Pellegrini's put Snodgrass there because he didn't have another guy to play out in the right wing. And it's unfair on Snodgrass because he's a centre midfielder now. And I think it's just a bit... I don't know. I don't like judging people when they're out of position like that because it's not their fault. It's the manager that's put him there. So if Snodgrass has had a bad game, I feel like it's Pellegrini that should be to blame rather than Snodgrass. Because we know Snodgrass will give 100%. Saying that, I thought he did okay. He linked up okay with Zabaleta, but like you said, the pace was just lacking whenever he went down there. With Ajeti, he was involved. We've seen him. It was not like we're sitting here thinking, where is he? We've seen him plenty of it, but he perhaps wasn't effective. Not through fault of trying. It just didn't come off for him tonight. And another day, that cross that he got on okay head to will be an inch lower and he'll get a good head to it. But he was winning the headers in the box against a really physical Newport team, which is good to see. So lots of positives tonight, a couple of worries, but overall good. Gonzo, can I get your final words and your hammer of the match, please?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Sanchez because I forgot him in my summing up. I will quote Harry Pierce, who is a watcher of the channel and was in the live chat when we were doing the watch along, which is also on this channel there. Harry said he felt that Sanchez had stopped becoming a joke tonight, as such was his performance, and I thought that was a really good thing to say, and I agree. He looked like a defensive midfielder. He looked like he could do a job. Yes, I know it was against Newport, but it was there were some other players who didn't do overly well against Newport and Wimbledon and the like. So I was pleased to see that again. Like I said with Roberto, I now feel a little less nervous that if we have to bring Sanchez on in anything other than seeing that last 5 minutes in a Premier League game, I will think, okay, that's not horrendous. So I was quite pleased about that. In terms of man of the match is going to be Felipe Anderson because I just think he's at a different level when he plays like that. But also it was evident, particularly when we got into our stride, he plays with his head up all the time. And good players play with their head up. And the reason they play with their head up is because they're so good at controlling the ball that they don't have to worry about. They know they can feel it in their foot, they can see it in their periphery, and they look up, they can see a player around them. And there were a couple of points in that second half where particularly him, Wilshere and Fornals all play with the same way, with their head up. It was just evident that they were more aware because they were looking around at them and there were some passing moves and some triangles going on, which clearly Newport were just not capable of because they're not players who possess that ability with the vision and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, Felipe Anderson, and we move on to the next round and Norwich on Saturday.
The Sanchez thing for me, I was saying in the live watch alone that we did, that the big difference for me tonight is playing defensive midfield. I don't like seeing him alongside Rice because he's got to do a role that he's not suited to. But tonight we've got to see him in Declan Rice's role, which was sit in front of the back four and protect the back four. And he did well. He did really well. Did everything asked. Some good interceptions. Read the game well. Linked up play well. You know, he was giving the ball to Wilshere and Fornals and Anderson as quick as he could. He was taking off centre backs, turning around and giving it to one of the centre midfielders and saying, "Right, you go away and do something with it." Anderson's my man of match as well. I think he was the only player that Newport couldn't get near. I felt they got near Creswell, Zabaleta. They had opportunities at times. I felt Newport did okay with them. Ajeti they handled okay. Wilshere, Fornals, they were able to take the ball off them at times, but Anderson, I felt they never really got the ball off him. There was a couple of times he had two players around him and Anderson was able to dribble his way out of it, and he just had that little touch of class, Felipe, tonight. Every time he got the ball, you felt like he was going to create something, and he was creating something, whether it was a dink over the back four or just giving a 1-2 Wilshere Fornals. He was moving about the pitch. He had complete freedom tonight, I felt, Anderson, and I hope we get to see him like that in a Premier League game soon. It's dangerous because the opposition's better, So that if you don't have a left winger, for example, they will come down your left side, which Newport didn't really take advantage of tonight because we're just better than them. But I thought Anderson took advantage of the fact we were playing a League Two side more than anyone else in the West Ham team tonight, and he came on. And it's difficult to come on when you don't have a warm-up. He never had a warm-up. Well, he would have before the game, but then he sat on the bench for 6 minutes. Then suddenly you get your kit off, you're going on. It's difficult sometimes to get up to the pace of the game, but as soon as he came on, he just owned the game. Best player on the pitch for me tonight. But anyway, that's it from us. Gonzo, would you care to say goodbye?
I would care to say goodbye. Goodbye.
It's goodbye from me as well. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll be back on Thursday evening with the preview of the Norwich City game, the last game before the international break. Can West Ham get 7 points out of their opening 4 fixtures? We'll tell you what we think on Thursday night. Join us then. Catch you in a bit.